Hey, my name's John and welcome to the John D. Jones YouTube channel. In today's episode I'm going to talk to you about how to get into Sitecore development. Now, unlike Umbraco or an Epi server, getting into Sitecore development is a lot more complicated and a lot more tricky than it is for other CMSs. Now, one of the main reasons for this is Sitecore doesn't really give you any easy or free way to just install Sitecore on your local PC and play around. So if you're working with, say like an Umbraco, you can open up Visual Studio, go to NuGet, download Umbraco, install it on your PC, and have a play around. Epi server is very similar. Obviously you can't host your website without having a license, but you can get it on your PC and get up and running. So Sitecore doesn't install itself through NuGet. With Sitecore you have to go to the Sitecore portal, and once you're in the Sitecore portal you have to use a username and password to get in there. So you basically get your username and password by successfully completing the Sitecore development developers training course. Now, the developer training course, I mean, I'm not an expert, I don't know, I don't have the figures off the top of my hand. It's probably between, £1,000 or £3,000. So it's not like a cheap thing, it's not like 100 quid, there you go, you get your license. So if you're sat, at home wanting to learn Sitecore, this is your first hurdle. You actually need to pay for your license before you can get access to the files to install it on your PC. Now, if you get to a stage where you actually install Sitecore on your PC, you'll hit the second snag, you'll get prompted to put a license before your Sitecore website will work. Now, this means before you do any development, you actually need to buy Sitecore. So obviously, my background is I worked for an agency when I first came out of university. I worked for agencies as a permie for ages. During there I did my Epi server certification, I did my Sitecore certification. So for me it was all pretty easy. People have paid for me to have these licenses while I was an employee. And then over the years it just meant that I can hop on one of the bandwagons of whatever CMS is available, or whoever wants to pay me the cash money. But if you're sat at home and you're not working for an agency, I've got to admit, Sitecore is probably the most widely sold CMS system. It definitely is in London. As a contractor, whenever I look at the market, there's always a lot more Sitecore opportunities available compared to other CMSs. So if you're a .NET developer, getting into Sitecore is definitely a good thing for your career. If you want to get into contracting, it's definitely a good niche. And I have a good feeling that if you got into Sitecore, you're going to be set for another couple of years, so life will be good. But this is sort of the problem, is that if you're a contractor and you want to get into Sitecore development, or you want to work in an agency and they're asking for Sitecore and you want to get some hands-on experience before you apply for a job, you're pretty screwed. Unfortunately, there's not really that much you can do except for give up, maybe focus on another CMS. I definitely do think this is a limitation of Sitecore, because from my experience with the marketplace and everything like that, there's a lot of people who want Sitecore developers, and then there's a shortage of Sitecore developers. So there's loads of companies looking for people, and then there's not that many people who are experienced with Sitecore, and that's mainly because to get Sitecore certified and to get a license costs X amount of money, so there's definitely like a steep learning curve. Now, one of the good things is Sitecore is a brilliant product. There's loads of cool things you can do with it. There's hundreds of websites around the world all built with Sitecore, but obviously getting past this first hurdle. So normally I like to do these videos, like to give some good tips, or do something which is beneficial for you. Unfortunately, in this case, if you want to learn Sitecore and you're not working at an agency, or you're not working for a client who's bought a license for you and who's willing to pay for you to go through the tutorial, the certification, you're a bit boned. So that's basically my number one tip. If you want to get into Sitecore and you want to think of getting into Sitecore CMS contracting as your career, probably the best thing you can do is, before you think about doing freelancing or contracting as a developer, potentially go to an agency. As I said, I come from an agency background, and one of the great things about agencies, especially if you find an agency which doesn't typecast you, that they'll generally happily let you get yourself trained up on all the latest CMSs. They'll pay for all your certifications and all those stuff like that. That will benefit you later on if you ever want to make it on your own, be self-employed. Because take it from me, someone who's self-employed, if I spent £2,000 every time I needed a license for everything, I probably wouldn't make any money. So anyway, this is a very brief and short one. It's a bit cold, so I don't want to stand out here for too much longer. I'm hoping this video's helped someone. If you've got any thoughts about it, obviously please leave some comments. If you like these sort of videos, you want to learn a bit about CMS development, a bit about Sitecore and Bracco or Episerver, subscribe below, become a legend. It will benefit your career. Otherwise, go over to my website. There's over 800 tutorials in CMS development. From there, there's everything about, you know, how to get into contracting, how to build websites in Sitecore, all that good stuff. Otherwise, I'll see you around. Peace!